Take a bite of an apple. See how thin the skin of the apple is? Now, if we imagine that the apple was the size of the Earth, that's how thin our crust is. But unlike the apple, our crust is divided into a bunch of pieces, which we call plates. All these plates rest on top of the Earth, sort of like a bunch of cookies in a bowl of milk. And they move against one another, and they push and press and pull, constantly changing the surface of the Earth. This is called plate tectonics. If you take a look at the right side of South America, and you take a look at the left side of Africa, you notice that they kind of hug against one another, like two puzzle pieces. This is because they were once connected. Millions and millions of years ago, all of our continents were one supercontinent called Pangaea. And the forces of plate tectonics over time pulled and pushed them apart into the continents that we see today. But they don't stop. Plate tectonics are constantly changing the way that our Earth looks. For example, if you take a look at a photo of Mount Everest, you'll notice that it's connected to a mountain range called the Himalayas. That's because the plate that the country of India rests on and the plate that the continent of Asia rests on are pushing up against one another at about a rate of an inch a year. That means that Edmund Hillary, the first person to summit Everest in 1953, actually climbed less high than people who summit Everest today. And if you're brave enough to summit Everest, you will in fact climb higher than they did. But plate tectonics are most famously known for certain natural disasters. If you take your hands and you press them against one another and you move them just a little bit, you notice they don't move. But apply more force and they eventually give, giving off some heat and warming your hands up. It's called friction. When two plates do the same thing and rub up against one another, the friction that they give off results in earthquakes, tsunamis, and tidal waves. Now, I'm from California originally, and earthquakes are a huge part of life on the West Coast. But in New York, in the New York area in 2015, 22 earthquakes were recorded. That means that earthquakes, tsunamis, and tidal waves not only affect the more hotbed areas like California and Japan, but constantly influence every square inch of our Earth, changing the ground below us on a daily basis. Now, why is this important? Because if you take a pencil and you draw a line over your head against your door to measure how tall you've grown over the past year, when we study plate tectonics, we're doing the same thing. We can see every day not only how the Earth has changed, but where it will continue to change and grow over the next million years. Now, this is important because we can see that even though our growth won't take as long as the Earth's, our growth and the Earth's growth are very similar. And isn't it kind of cool to think that you're not that much different than the ground that you're standing on?